Welcome to another awesome Antiracism. And we're going to continue with the ABCs of Antiracism because I can always find something to connect to the current letter. And we're working on D. And today, D stands for daring, discussion, and debate. I'm daring to have a discussion that could be a debate with a black man who has a PhD, who wrote an article about black people in which he used the word minority. And when I sent him my usual email saying, with my article, changed the language paradigm, explaining why there's no group of people called a minority. And yes, people can be in a numerical minority, but the current use of the word minority applied to black people and people of color creates an imbalance and also a psychological negation of the true value and power of people of color, black people, and their communities. Now, if you haven't read Change the Language Paradigm, let me know. Write in the comment that you'd like to get it, and I will send you the PDF link. In the meantime, though, I want to share what this man wrote a little bit. His area of study is sociology, and he has a PhD. I do not have a PhD in anything, and I wasn't talking about sociology. I am talking about my lived experience that over 20 years ago, I sat in the auditorium in the University of Texas. Thank you, Global Sisterhood. And I will send that to you. And I was sitting in the auditorium at the University of Texas as an employee. And that was the first time I heard the oxymoronic expression, minority, majority. And it is still used, but not so much, because people still don't want to even talk about the fact that there's an increasing number of people of color in the Southwest. And eventually they will become a majority. And that is tied to fears rooted in racism. Now, this gentleman kind of used some sociology. And yes, in sociology, I can understand in terms of numbers. I don't even like to use the concept of saying that you can use minority and majority in terms of people power, because that is, again, a concept that is used to deny people the thought in their minds that they can be powerful. I mean, if the homeless people recognize we're homeless, but we're still human beings, and if they are still in right command of their minds, and if they were to think, hey, why don't we organize and take care of ourselves, or organize and try and get the help we need? Some of them are in that physical, mental ability to do that, if they were given any inkling that they are indeed powerful people. Because we all are, whether you believe in God or just the pure power of the human intellect. We all have unbelievable amounts of power. So to call any group of people a minority without clearly explicating, you're talking about numbers, and you can use other words. There are less people. You can give the numbers, but do not call any group of people a minority. And then ended the email by saying, it is time to end the oversimplification of white versus non-white. There is no oversimplification, and there is no white versus non-white. There is simply an effort to end racism. And after we end racism, Then we start to address class and caste and other isms. Oh, there is no white versus non-white. And because I am married to a white man, all of my nieces and nephews on one side of my family are mixed with white or Latino or others. So it's not anti-racism. It's not white against non-white. It's about racist ideas and actions. And in the United States of America, all people of color still are just making inroads into power. But that does not mean we are powerless. It means we are stepping into claiming and saying what is racist, and we have to get rid of racist ideas and racist actions. That's all. It's not about color, because we know among our own groups, whether you're Latino, Black, Asian American, even Middle Eastern, the whole color thing is another issue, and you can get into hair. Of course, as people, we differentiate, and until we get on certain spiritual paths that strive for us rising above duality, we live in constant states of comparisons and value judgments. But anti-racism is not about those things. Anti-racism is looking at racist ideas, which are ideas based on saying one person is better or less than another simply based on the color of their skin and their culture or where they come from or their language. We can address that, and one of the simplest ways of addressing that is recognizing the misuse of the word minority by media and politicians and educators, that it has a deep psychological effect that is perpetuated by those in power. So that's my dissertation today on the D words in anti-racist. Awesome. And yes, we are all ancestors of each other, and we could have been a different color in a past life. And that's why anti-racism education is important, because once we start acknowledging it, and that's the whole point of anti-racist education, is helping people to see racist ideas, to deal with racist realities in which people of color are still not getting and accessing everything equally. And it's always a pleasure to share with you why anti-racism is awesome.